Hello, 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 everyone. Welcome to another daily COVID-19 global call. My name is Sree Sreenivasan. I'm the Marshall Loeb Visiting Professor of Digital Innovation at the Stony Brook School of Journalism. I'm so honored to be able to host this daily gathering where we talk to interesting people who work in all sorts of fields to help us get through the COVID-19 crisis. It's day 24. That means I've been doing this for 24 straight days, and I'm committed to doing this until the lockdown ends or I get sick or something else happens. You can help right now by hitting share on the platform you're on. Facebook, Twitter, YouTube, LinkedIn. We're live on all those platforms, and there's a behind the scenes video that you can see live on Instagram. On Instagram, I'm sreenet. On Twitter, I'm Sree. YouTube, sreenet. And LinkedIn is my full name, Sree Sreenivasan. Please comment in there. Tell us where you're watching from. We want you to enjoy this session and learn from it. It's Sunday night, which means Sunday night positivity at 9 p.m. Eastern. And that means we are going to share as many useful, helpful tips as possible while also being realistic. We don't want to be falsely optimistic like some people we know. Let's see who's joining us from around the world. Always the first person to comment is Jonathan Borstein, watching from the East Village. We have promised that we will have a Nutella cafe meal, and we haven't gotten to that before the crisis. We hope the cafe is there afterward. From Philly, Steve Taylor is here. Steve, thank you so much for being here, for being such a great supporter of the show. Everyone, please hit share right now so that your friends and family from around the world can join us. Tag a friend. This is the Positivity Show. There is someone in your life who would benefit right now from listening to this conversation, from hearing what is the latest in positivity, in ways in which they can do something with their time that is meaningful to them. So please check that out. Very easy to find. Just find your friends and reshare, share, retweet. All of that is so easy to do. I am so grateful to everyone who's here. Carla Baranakis is here, and Carla gets an extra shout out because she helped with tonight's show by helping us bring in one of our guests. And she also helped with our morning show, the read along, the New York Times Sunday read along. And we had an incredible guest tonight. I mean, this morning, we have incredible guests today, but this morning we had the great Harlan Coben on. Harlan, as so many of you know, is a best-selling author who has had more than 75 million books in print and has 3 shows on Netflix, including The Stranger and Safe, right now on Netflix. And he was with us this morning. He was so generous, so kind, as all our guests are. So 8:30 a.m. Eastern time every Sunday, we talk about the New York Times, we read the New York Times, and we bring along a doctor guest, a physician. And today we had Dr. Marina Kurian joining us. So hope you will catch the replay. It's on Facebook, Twitter, etc. The easiest way to find all my work is to go to YouTube. I'm learning how to do YouTube better, and you can just go to YouTube and /sreenet, find me there, and if you subscribe, you'll be able to get alerts every time I'm live. We have fantastic guests coming up in the days and weeks ahead, including the editor-in-chief of the Wall Street Journal. And tomorrow, 4 p.m., we have a special show, 4 p.m. Eastern time. We're going to have Tanya Reese of Edelman joining us, talking about brands and trust in a big new study that they have done. It's going to be very exciting, and we want you to join us for that. So we have comments coming in. Tell us where you're watching from. Tell us how you're feeling. Ask the question of our experts. And let me tell you a little bit about the opportunity that we have added this past week of having sponsors. And tonight we have our second sponsor, and I'm so excited to tell you about an effort that is so meaningful in the age of COVID-19, frontlinefoodtrucks.com. There is an effort now to help the food trucks business as well as the healthcare workers who are working on the front line. Ben Goldberg, founder and president of the New York Food Truck Association, started an initiative, Frontline Food Trucks of New York City, to deliver donated food and beverages to New York City hospital staff. The hospitals are closing their cafeterias, and the doctors, nurses, and medical staff need nutrition 24/7. So he started a GoFundMe to deliver food and beverages to NYU Langone. And now he has a GoFundMe that you can find at frontlinefoodtrucks.com, right on the front page. Please go there. Please donate so they can expand to other hospitals all over New York City. Food is being donated by La Colombe, Sweet Green, and Chobani, great brands there. And you can donate so that they can reach their goal of $500,000 in order to expand their work. And just to show you how this works and how supportive so many of my friends are, this ad was paid by a third-party donor who wanted to support both my show as well as Ben and his efforts. And so this anonymous donor paid for the ad on my show. How wonderful is that? And you should know that Ben Goldberg's mother, Shelley Goldberg, was formerly the parenting reporter for 25 years at New York One News. Isn't that incredible? And she definitely did a great job of parenting in raising Ben, clearly the president and founder of the New York Food Truck Association. Please go right now to frontlinefoodtrucks.com or write it down or take a screenshot, and please donate, please share. We want as many people to benefit from this ad so that we can raise money right now. And if you'd like to sponsor this show, you can easily do that. You can email me, sree@sree.net. Again, take a screenshot or use your phone to get a picture so you know how you can become a sponsor. If you have nothing to sell, then why not do what our anonymous friend did? Support frontlinefoodtrucks.com by buying an ad on my show. So that's the way we are operating here. We are so grateful to everyone who is watching the show and supporting the show. Please hit share right now so that more people can join us. All right, now that we have paid some bills, let's meet our wonderful speakers here today. So ready for the drum roll, and let me pull off the ad so that you can all meet them. Hello, folks. Let me first say hi to Cory Cohen. Hi, Cory.
Hi, Sree. How are you?
Priya Gopal.
Hey, Sree. How are you?
And Nick Ortner. How are you, Nick?
Hello. How are you?
These are three people who are going to make you positive. I'm being positive and upbeat by wearing my positivity shirt. And one of the things you'll realize in the age of Zoom calls and things, I wear this shirt once a week for 1 hour, and then I hang it up so I can wear it again on my Sunday show. We all have all kinds of tricks and hacks and things we're doing to survive this crisis. And we're going to hear about some of those tips. But first, as I always ask on our show, please tell us how you are and where you are first. Let's go to Cory. Tell us how you're doing, how you're feeling, and where you are. And I see you have a pet friend, so that way it gives you also a chance to tell us about you and your work.
Well, thanks, Sree. I'm doing great. I feel fine. Thank goodness. I'm healthy. My family's healthy. This here is Bodie. And I'm coming from Pike County, Pennsylvania, which is right near the intersection of New York, New Jersey, and Pennsylvania. We're in Delaware State Forest. It's beautiful around here. So thank you. I'm healthy, doing well, and we're going to get through this.
Okay, thank you. And I like that. And you're going to give us some great tips from Bodhi and your other friends as well. And we've met Bodhi before on the New York Times Read Along, where you were fantastic. You've offered so many great tips. It was not that long ago, but here you are again sharing with us. Please follow Cory Cohen at Path Friendship on Twitter, and it's Path of Friendship on Facebook. So thank you very much. Let's go over to Priya Gopal.
Hi, Sree, and hi, everybody. It's great to be here. I'm here in New York City. It's 9 p.m. on a Sunday. I'm dressed up, have my makeup on. Hey, life is great, no complaints. But it's really good to be here. I've had a fantastic, productive weekend. Through all of this, I'm grateful for a lot of things. As Cory said, health is important for health for your families, friends, but also trying to stay productive and just be positive and do the most you can.
And that's what we're trying to do. You're a coach and a consultant. Your business has a wonderful name, the Thinking Hats. I guess people put on their thinking caps or hats with you. So we'll learn more about that. But I like your positivity already. That's wonderful. Thank you. Please follow her, Priya SEPT on Twitter, at Priya, no, that's, sorry, PRISEPT on Twitter. It's right on your screen. I was expanding her first name there, but she's at Precept. That's very cool. All right. And now our guest is Nick Ortner. How are you, Nick? Where are you?
Hi, Sree. I'm great. I'm in Newtown, Connecticut, so about an hour and a half outside of New York City, and put my 5-year-old daughter to bed. The house is quiet. I'm out in my barn, which is where I work, and happy to be with you.
Look at the space you have there. Very nice with the photographs and the staircase. I know you didn't just accidentally do that. That's staged beautifully.
That is all my wife's work. I can take no credit for that.
Okay. How is the 5-year-old doing?
She's doing great. She's doing great. You know, she knows that some kids are sick at school and around where we are, so we're trying to stay away from people. But I mean, she's about to turn 5, so it's just young enough that, you know, we don't really need to get into a lot of details with what's happening. And I think she's happy being home and playing with mom and dad all day.
Right. And what is the birthday plan?
Well, we'll see. It's May 16th, so it's all up in the air. Where are we going to be? Like, it's day to day, right, as to where we're going to be. We actually had a birthday party in the neighborhood. I live on a cul-de-sac, and it was really sweet because obviously nobody could get together, so they did a Caravan of Cars. You've probably seen it, but I got to watch it live. And, you know, it was actually another 5-year-old's birthday, and he was out there, and all these cars drove in. Oh, the effort that people put into their cars was incredible. They painted them, they did signs, they did happy birthday, and then they would hand presents, and, you know, just a real effort for this kid's 5-year-old birthday. And I think that's a lot of what we're seeing, you know, in the midst of all this madness and uncertain times and all the stress and uncertainty with these situations. We're seeing so many shows of love and compassion and people coming together in different ways. And I hope if there's something that we pull out of this whole experience, it's just that.
Thank you. And my twins have their birthday on May 23rd. So I'm going to be watching for what you do. And maybe there's not that much difference between a 5-year-old and a 17-year-old under COVID. I don't know. We'll find out. Let's also tell everybody that you're the CEO of the Tapping Solution. Tell us what that is, and we'll come back and learn more.
Yeah, the Tapping Solution is a company that teaches a technique called EFT, or tapping, and it's tapping on endpoints of meridians of our body for stress relief and anxiety. We can go into details of research and hundreds of research study showing drops in cortisol. I just saw a study across my desk showing a 43% drop in cortisol in an hour of tapping. And as you well know, all of our cortisol is flying high these days. So when we talk about immune system boosting and what we can do to stay positive and take care of ourselves, the tapping is shown specifically to lower the cortisol in the body, reduce those stress hormones, and bring the body back in balance.
Excellent. So we want to hear all about that. Girish is watching from Kochi, which is in Kerala in India. Paula is watching from Tallahassee. She's a fantastic producer on the New York Times Read Along team. Tim Sohn, the first person ever to advertise on the New York Times the COVID-19 call. Bruce Springsteen said he never forgot who paid him his first $5 to play, made him a musician. Tim, by paying me, made me a real, content creator in this format. Diane's watching from Margate, New Jersey. Rose is tweeting, and she's in Milford. How far is Milford from where you are?
Milford is probably about 30 minutes from here, so not too far.
Great. Please follow her on Twitter. She's Rose Horowitz 31, and she's tweeting with the hashtag Sree COVID-19 call, Sree COVID-19 call, Rose Horowitz 31. Pedro Antonio is watching from Puerto Rico. How cool is that? Puerto Rico is my second home. If anybody ever has any questions about Puerto Rico, please get in touch. I'm doing a workshop there tomorrow. I'm supposed to fly out this weekend and be there to do workshops, but of course I am not there. Let's see. Hey, Sree, hope you're safe at home. Absolutely. People are greeting each other. Colleen's watching from Tallahassee. We have a disproportionate percentage of Tallahasseans here. So this is pretty cool. People are talking to each other. Arlene is watching from Upper Manhattan. Carrie is tagging a friend at New York Farmer. Everybody, please do that. Tag your friends. Steve, another part of the read along, is tagging or saying La Colombe, a great Philly brand that has expanded internationally. They are funding and giving donations to the frontlinefoodtrucks.com. This is really cool. And Christine is watching out in California. Great initiative. And thanks to Ben and that anonymous donor for getting the word out. Isn't that really cool? And Arlene, remember Shelley Goldberg's great reporting. We'll come back to some of these folks. And Marielle's watching from Kansas City. When I hear Kansas City, I think of great food, as with a lot of the places we mentioned. And that's how I turn positive, is thinking about food. But let's get to Cory and some specific thoughts and tips. And tell us about your business as well, Cory, how you're doing in the business right now when it might be a little harder to bring pets to you and things like that.
Well, most of what I'm doing right now is I'm just dealing with the clients that I have. We're communicating on phone or via Skype or FaceTime. And because I'm not going to their homes to see them with their dogs, obviously, but we're being somewhat productive in this. And what I do is I really help people and their dogs reduce their stress by forming a connection, a mindful connection with their dogs. So it not only reduces stress in us, it helps reduce stress in our dogs, and especially dogs who have come from situations that they've suffered emotional trauma or physical trauma, or have a lot of anxiety, a lot of rescue and shelter dogs. They don't need someone to come in and all of a sudden take control. What they need is to form secure attachments and solid relationships. And what I do is I help people and their dogs. I'm sort of the in-between, help them form these sort of mindful, stress-reducing relationships and connections with each other. But right now, we're not doing it one-on-one because we're all staying home. But it's a great time to do it through the social media and through things like this. It's been rather productive, actually.
So we know there's a lot of therapy that's happening for human beings, but you're able to do it for the human beings who are working with your dog. So that's pretty cool that you're able to do that. Give me a couple of tips. We have Tara roaming around here somewhere. She's a 4-year-old Beagle mix. What should we be thinking of them differently? I know that Harlan Coben on this morning show said his dog Laszlo is confused because the order of the pecking order has kind of changed because everybody's home all the time, and Laszlo is a little confused. So talk about that, please.
Well, dogs definitely suffer from emotional contagion. So when we're nervous or we're anxious or we're upset, as much as we try to hide it and put on a strong face, our dogs are going to feel that. They're going to sense it from us. We can't hide how we feel from our dogs. The best tip I can say is never play poker with your dog, because you'll never bluff them. They'll see right through any facade you try and put on. So in this time when we're really stressed out, our dogs are going to pick up on that. But they're not even going to know why we're stressed. They're just going to know there's tension there. And in addition to that, if our routines have changed, that's going to add another level of stress. Even though a lot of our dogs are absolutely loving this time where, hey, we're home all the time with them. We're not leaving them. We're not going to work. We're here. It still has this level of stress response in our dogs. So by learning to take this opportunity that we're with them to really connect with them in a way that they feel secure and connected, and it helps us as well, that it reduces the stress overall. So I'm a big proponent of mindful relationships and bringing ourselves, our state of consciousness, more closer to the way our dogs perceive things. So for example, Bodhi here, he's not worried about the coronavirus. Partly obviously because he doesn't know what it is, but he's also not thinking about, boy, what is this going to mean for me tomorrow or the next day? Or was I near anybody yesterday? He's not thinking about what's going on ahead of us or what's going on behind us. He's just very centered in this moment and very attached and engaged with this moment here. And if we can connect with them and have them be our guides and teach us to sit with them and be as present as they are, it's going to reduce the stress. Speaking of cortisol, that it reduces enormous amounts of stress, in addition to increasing a lot of our levels of oxytocin, which also helps relieve a lot of the stress there.
Thank you. What great advice already. And Therese, who's watching, a great friend of the show, would you recommend that people adopt shelter and rescue dogs now in the age of COVID-19? What safety precautions would you take?
Anytime is a great time to adopt and rescue shelter dogs. But just remember that it's forever. So it's not just for until this crisis is over, but it's the time to do it anytime. Now, of course, is a great time because at least we can form our initial connections and bonds. We have the time to do this. As far as precautions, we can't catch it. It's been shown we really cannot catch the COVID-19 from dogs. So that is not a concern at all. But absolutely, if you've been thinking about getting a dog and bringing them into your home and sharing part of your life with them and getting them out of these situations in these shelters and in these rescues, absolutely 100% go for it.
Thank you. What great advice. And thank you, Therese, for that question. Priya, we've got multiple people saying they want some positivity tips. So let's hear your advice. Tell us a little more about your practice, and then we'll go get some advice. And we should tell everybody that you have a really good newsletter. That's why I immediately booked you. You sent the newsletter and you were booked within 25, 30 minutes, right?
That's right. Well, thank you for saying that. I appreciate it. Well, just to give you a little bit more about the company. So we launched a company, the Thinking Hats, and what we do, we're an innovation consultancy. So we work with companies to really enhance their customer experience, their brand, and their true purposes, as well as their employees. And what's interesting is this time of crisis, JFK once said, crisis is a great way to actually look at opportunities. And as companies, individuals, for all of us, I think one of the really grounding ways to stay positive is look at this as, what is this telling us? What can we learn from this moment? Yes, it's hard. It's difficult. We're all taken away from our normal routines. We're not doing the things the way we're used to doing them. But really, what can we learn from this experience? So for us, whether we talk to clients, whether I'm talking to individuals, it's really important to find ways to stay grounded and be positive. And so how do you do that? Right? I think find and create new routines. Yes, you're not going to work every day, but guess what? You have that hour of commute that you can now use to be productive. So try learning something new if that's what interests you. Self-reflection is actually, it's a good time to now think about, okay, I have maybe a little bit more time than I normally do. We will eventually get over this and we will get back to it. What do I want to do now? Do I want to have new career goals? So it's a great time to really reflect on what you want to do. So that as part of your routine is really important. And one of the other ways, what I tell clients is also self-care. What Cory was saying, about dogs, but I think, being in that moment and really being able to connect to yourself, practicing self-care is so important. And as part of the routine, whether you want to have, have a good sleep every day, incorporate some physical activity, whether it's, exercise or a lot of life classes now. But the other thing also, think about meditation as one of the options. I mean, for me personally, I've never been a huge fan of meditation, but over the last month or so, I've tried this. I try to do that for 10 minutes every day, and it just calms me in the morning. It gives me a better sense of purpose. So things that you can try and incorporate, try and have a routine is really helpful.
Thank you. And where can people find more about you? Apart from the Twitter handle, we have the Twitter handle, but where else can they find more about you?
Absolutely. So you can visit www.thethinkinghats.com. You can find me on LinkedIn. One of the things we're doing right now is offering a lot of free virtual sessions on leadership for people. So as you're thinking about developing your skills, this now is a good time to actually learn something new. So you can find me on LinkedIn. There's information there.
Oh, thank you. And Cory, you can find Cory at Path of Friendship is on Facebook, and on his Twitter is @PathFriendship. So let's go to Nick. Nick from the Tapping Solution. We've got a question here. Diane says, will children and adults too suffer from a form of PTSD as this continues to go on?
Yeah, so I mean, in some cases, yeah. PTSD, post-traumatic stress disorder, it applies to different people, different levels of it. It's something that tapping has been quite effective with, tapping with veterans with PTSD. Usually PTSD is more dramatic circumstances, so we would be likely looking at that for the people on the front line. Like, I don't think any of us at home are going to, do something as massive as PTSD. But if you're coming in with an underlying condition, I mean, one of the things that I'm concerned about is the people that were anxious coming into this situation, the people that were overwhelmed coming into this situation. I saw a question pop on the screen, ask about how tapping works with PTSD, and we have a good amount of research on it. And basically, as I described earlier, the tapping, we call it tapping because we are tapping on endpoints of meridians of our body. I've been skipping the face points in case people haven't been washing your hands. So skip the face points unless you wash your hands. We have an app that can teach you all the points. And what the tapping does when we focus on the stress, the anxiety, the overwhelm, it actually sends a calming signal to the amygdala in the brain. So a lot of people will know that the amygdala is the fight or flight response center. It's a part of us that for example, in PTSD, is completely overstimulated and overactive. One negative experience after another where that amygdala gets turned on and just doesn't shut off. And that happens especially in times of stress. Now, what is stress? Stress has two components always. One is uncertainty and the other one is lack of control. So anything in your life where you feel stress, it's because underneath it, you have uncertainty and a lack of control of the situation. And if we think about COVID-19, if we think about this pandemic, I don't think any of us have faced a situation where there's so much uncertainty day to day, hour by hour. We're trying to say, what's next? What's happening? What's next week going to look like? What's next month going to look like? And lack of control. I'm here. I'm home. What can I do? I can't even leave the house. How do I fix my situation? Right? So uncertainty and lack of control leads to massive stress. Now, I don't need to tell you that you're stressed out at home right now. You know this already, but I think it's good to recognize the underpinnings of this stress, to just give yourself a moment to say, yeah, this is a really stressful situation. This is going to take a toll on my nervous system if I don't do things like this call, like the tapping, like meditation, to calm the nervous system, to turn off that amygdala and to bring your best self back online.
How similar is this to things like acupressure?
Yeah, so it's very similar. I describe tapping as a combination of ancient Chinese acupressure, that's the physical tapping component, and modern psychology. The difference is acupressure, you'd go to see someone and they'd work with you. With tapping, you can do it all by yourself. We have a free app that you can download on iOS or Android. We just crossed 1.7 million sessions completed on the app. So those are individual sessions that someone pulled it up when they were anxious, they were stressed, they were overwhelmed, and they did the tapping for 5 or 10 minutes to find relief. And potentially the coolest thing that we have with the app now is that in those 1.7 million sessions, I've got data points on all of them because people type in 0 to 10, how anxious are you in the start? How much pain are you in? Whatever it is that you're working on, and then what is it at the end? So I can tell you that in over 250,000 anxiety sessions, people were able to drop their anxiety by over 45% in 10 minutes. Pretty dramatic result, and I think something that we all need right now.
Absolutely. I love this photo, the profile photo of Eric Sharfstein watching from Ottawa. Look at that beautiful wedding photo there. And I'm just grateful to everybody who's watching. Please tag your friends right now. Tell them about this show. You have a friend somewhere in the world who would benefit from this. And I know my guests have already shared on Twitter or Facebook so that their networks and their partners and friends and everybody in the world can join us. We've got so many questions coming in, but one of them is a comment from Nita Basin who says there's a lot of cabin fever going on now. So let's start with Priya and then Cory and then Nick about cabin fever. What can people do about it? Can you do anything about it? And Priya, your thoughts, please.
Yeah, I mean, it's very understandable given the situation, where we feel like we're confined indoors, can't really have the flexibility to go out. And very often what happens, you get that sense of loneliness and isolation. So it's like, how do you practice being together while still practicing social distancing, right? That's always a challenge. So, again, practicing safe distancing, if you can actually have the opportunity to avoid crowds, have all your protection, go take a walk. That's one way to sort of connect with nature if you can, take the time for yourself. And thanks to technology, I mean, we're all here, together, but Find a way to connect with family members. Incorporate some fun things you can do. I've been playing 20 questions with family, friends. There are tons of apps out there where you can actually have a party online, virtually celebrate milestones and birthdays and things like that. So find ways to do that. And people, I hear a lot of people who are now doing virtual book clubs, finding things that interest them. In some ways, it's said, try and find the silver lining. So if you can get more time to do things that you probably didn't have time for before, now's a good time to do it. So the more you kind of have face-to-face interactions, it helps take away some of that isolation, that sense of loneliness, because you're able to see body language, visual cues, and have that interaction face-to-face with others. So that's another way to try and sort of get out of that sense of isolation as well.
Let's pull up some of the greetings. Patricio is watching from Mexico. Welcome. And he's tagged Yas. He said, I met Sree at the Nobel reception. Take a look. That was an amazing Nobel Prize gathering that I went to as part of my work with one of my clients. Their work was recognized by one of the Nobel committees this year. So it was an incredible opportunity. Carla says, hi, tell us where you're watching from. Tag your friends. Share with your friends right now, folks. What a great group of speakers we have here. We want your questions and your comments about being upbeat. So let's go to cabin fever question to Cory, and then we go to Nick.
So the question is, what do we do with cabin fever? Well,
yeah,
especially
exactly.
with our dogs, great opportunities is obviously if there's no one really close, take them out for a walk. But I would suggest highly that we take them out for a walk and we walk with them, not with the intent of controlling them or training them or healing them, H-E-E-L, but of healing, H-E-A-L. And what I mean by that is approach the walks with your dog with what's known as beginner's mind. When I do a lot of hiking with my dogs, so I'm always out with them, and it never ceases to amaze me that they can spend 30 seconds to a minute to a few minutes engrossed in a scent on the tip of just an average blade of grass. Now, what could possibly be so fascinating about that? When we walk, we're always either listening to our iPads or our iPods or we're thinking about something, but it'd be really nice to walk with our dogs and try to experience what they're experiencing. Take a look, let them lead the way, follow them, see what they're sniffing, see what they're smelling, have that sort of childlike or dog-like beginner's mind, and really see that there's some incredibly magical things that are happening right around us, right under our feet, whether it's the different patterns in the cement of the sidewalk to the different textures or sounds that's going on around that our dogs are constantly being involved in. We can learn a lot from them being involved in that. And it can take an average, tedious, boring walk and make it into sort of this fantastic show of things that we may not have known before. So that's a great way to deal with the cabin fever right now.
I like that, and I want to I want to compliment my dog. Her Twitter, her Instagram is the.tara, and Tara is doing her bit. She used to get 3 to 4 walks a day. She now gets 2 because we're just too nervous to go outside, and she's not complaining. So we're grateful to her for that. Look at the story, how dogs have become hot property during Spain's coronavirus lockdown, because in many countries, you're not allowed out unless you are walking a dog or going to the pharmacy, and only one person per family is allowed out. So this is a very unusual dog story that we wouldn't have thought of. But what are you hearing in the dog circles there?
Well, people, sure, they love going out with their dogs, and so many people are really finding unique ways to reconnect, not just sitting and petting them, but getting them involved in different exercises. Part of my background is in search and rescue with dogs and scent work, so it's a lot of fun to have your dog just play hide and seek with them, even hiding behind a couch and having them find you, or taking different of their toys and having them find it and hiding it, and getting involved in these kind of games where it's not a training control exercise. It's more fun for the both of you. It's enjoyable for just for the moment, and it could be useful as well.
Sure. Let's see a different kind of animal story, Cory. I don't know if you've had a chance to see this. This was kind of breaking news today that there was a tiger at the Bronx Zoo has been tested positive for coronavirus. This happened at 6 p.m. Eastern when the story broke. Can you talk a little bit about that if you've had any time to do any research? I don't want to put you on the spot.
No, I've seen that story, and I've actually seen some stories where cats may, and I really want to emphasize may, be able to get the coronavirus. That's still pretty up in the air, and I haven't cross-referenced that to see if there's any real validity to it. But I don't, still the consensus is that we cannot catch it from our animals, whether they're cats or dogs. We can't catch it from them, so we're safe. That's still the consensus. It obviously may change, but as of now, that's the thinking.
Great. Thank you. We're just going to reset here. We're halfway through the show. I'm so grateful to my three guests, Cory, Cohen, Priya Gopal, and Nick Ortner for being here. It's Sunday night, so it's positivity night, and I'm already feeling so upbeat from hearing all these ideas. I'm sorry about the tiger, and sorry about all the folks in the world who are suffering right now. We've lost so many people. We had a show yesterday where we had the great Bill Ritter from Channel 7. He's recovering from COVID-19. And he said that, some of us will not get through this, but most of us will. And he cheered everybody on. And so if you haven't seen the show, you can just go back into my archives or go to my YouTube channel, sreenet, and catch the show with Bill Ritter. He was so good. And a reminder that we have a sponsor who is paying for this ad for frontlinefoodtrucks.com. Donate today to support the New York Food Truck Association as it feeds frontline healthcare workers at hospitals in New York. They're trying to raise $500,000. They've got about $12,000. We need your money. Make a donation. And what has happened is a friend of mine donated to run this ad, so it doesn't cost Frontline Food Trucks any money. And our rates are anyway very inexpensive, but we're so grateful for this ad to support content like this, but also to cheer on and support the healthcare workers, food for the healthcare workers, because their cafeterias have been shut down. All right, let's get back to our guests. Please post comments. Please tell us where you're watching from. We'd love to have your comments on the show. Let's go on and look at some of the comments. Arlene asks, you can send Tara down to Schnippers to pick up lunch. Schnippers is a great restaurant at the base of the New York Times HQ in New York, and they have a salted caramel and fish tacos that I'm craving right now. Carla is watching from Cape Coral, Florida, spending the extra time teaching kids to garden and to cook. Isn't that nice? Stefan says, thanks so much for such positive vibes from all. That's also really good. My father in India is watching first thing in the morning in Kerala. I don't know if any of you have been to Kerala, but I'm very grateful to my parents for all their support. I'm missing them so much. My in-laws, my brother, my sister-in-law, my nephew, they're all in different parts of two sets are in India, and my brother and family live in Dubai, and I really miss them. Priya, where's your family from in India?
I'm from Mumbai.
From Mumbai? Very cool.
My parents are there, but then again, like you, the situation, my brother, my sister-in-law, and my lovely 6-year-old niece are in Toronto. So we're kind of spread out all over.
Got it. And Steve caught the salted caramel fish tacos. I meant to say salted caramel milkshake and not the salted caramel fish tacos. Schnippers is good, but it's not that good. So let's go to Cory. Cory, talk a little bit about how the methods that you're promoting, how they have been influenced by what's happening right now, and how's your business been influenced and affected by everything that's happening? And I have the same question for Priya after this.
Well, business is pretty much now just through online Zoom or FaceTime or Skype, and just sort of helping people that way. It's a little difficult because a lot of my business is based on sort of close contact with the people and their dogs, but we're getting through. We're getting through it because it's all about the attachment and the connection that we have, and a lot of it has to do with touch. With many dogs, some dogs know. Some dogs, touch was used in their previous life as a weapon. So in other words, dogs have been physically abused. We don't want to use touch at all because they see touch as the enemy in a way. So we don't want to force that. But much of it is connecting with them, mostly through touch, but sometimes just through presence, being there for them. So
thank you.
That's what we're doing.
Thank you, Cory. Nick, over to you. The question about your business and how it's being affected. And Rajani says, be positive to generate strong immune system and be safe. So a lot of good ideas in one message right there.
Yeah, our business is mostly an internet business to start with. We have an email list of about 700,000 people, and we've definitely seen open rates go up. So people are focused on. We've focused all of our content on coronavirus anxiety the last couple of weeks. The second that this started becoming serious, we started doing specific tapping meditations for those issues, for anxiety, specific ones for women who are pregnant during a pandemic. We have 4 for kids of all different ages. I mentioned my daughter's almost going to turn 5, but we have them for older kids who are struggling not being with their friends and with school. So we're just doubling down. Usually our mission is to give great content, and then people who choose to buy our books and our programs are the ones that support the running of the business. And definitely seeing a little bit of a downtick in sales. I think people are spending less right now, but we're just doubling down on the free content and the value and trying to give people as many solutions as possible. I think that's, just about any business strategy, that's what you have to look at. How do you help right now? And then hopefully the rest takes care of itself later.
Yeah. How do you, I think that's great advice for anyone who is running a small business, that if they can, especially from there in the helping business, but long-term, how long can you weather this storm for your business? I'm sure a lot more people are turning to businesses like yours, but at the same time, as you said, money is an issue.
Sure. We have a staff of about 15, so not small, but not huge overhead. So we can stay nice and lean, and our overhead isn't crazy. We all work from home. So I think we're going to be in good shape as long as we just keep helping people out.
That's very good. And I like that positivity that you're displaying there. Thank you. And Pyle says this is a great initiative and love the show. So thank you, Pyle. Everybody, please post your comments, and let's get in some things that you are recommending to your clients or the people you're dealing with that might be surprising, even surprising to you, that you weren't thinking about this before, but now in these 2-3 weeks, you've now discovered new things that you want to share. I'll give you one just as you're thinking of your ideas. So I've been doing this. This is the 24th straight show. That means 24 days of doing a show like this. And what I have learned is that in order to be upbeat and to be positive, you have to think about not just the work you're doing now and how do you get through this, but also compare it to what other people have gone through. And Harlan Coben said the same thing, that every generation has gone through massive upheaval and fear the way we're doing now, and that if we stay positive, and he said also wash your hands, with those things, you'll do great. So let's go to Priya for some thoughts, and then we'll go around the horn. Go ahead, Priya.
Yeah, definitely. And, so you just, I'm going to sort of combine the question you asked earlier as well. I think, this is a time to actually look at as an opportunity. For us as an innovation consultancy, we've had to innovate the way we're doing things. And frankly, it just has given me a very different perspective. I mean, so for instance, we do this leadership program called Power, Presence, Influence. It's an in-person program. So we've been doing this in person. And now, given the situation, we're forced to innovate. And frankly, it's opened up so many possibilities. So now we're expanding outside of New York, expanding it, across the US, but also thinking of opportunities to expand globally. And I want to say, just from, just being a small business myself, I completely understand the pains that very often, business owners have to go through. But again, looking at this as ways in which you can do business differently, whether you're connecting with customers differently, whether you're engaging them differently, whether you're using employees in a different way, giving them different responsibilities that they didn't have before. Trying to look at this as a time to think about, okay, what does my brand stand for, and how can I really communicate that outward? So one of the things we are offering, being a small business ourselves, is just, free consultations to small businesses to help them innovate as they come out of this crisis. So Sree, using this platform to announce that if anyone needs that help, please approach us. We're happy to help. It's our way of just giving back. And I think we're all in this together, and we can do this together.
Wow, thank you for breaking that news on our show. So tell us how people can take advantage of it. Where can they find that information? Please tell us now.
Yes, so go to our website, www.thinkinghats.com. You can also reach out to me on LinkedIn. You can email hello@thethinkinghats.com.
THE thinkinghats.com. The thinkinghats.com.
The thinking.
All right. Right? Who knows? But I'm sure people will find it and will benefit from what you're what you're offering. So thank you for that, and thank you for contributing. Cory, over to you. What has surprised you in what you're telling your customers, and which would benefit us as well?
A lot of people are really getting to have the time now to become closer and more connected with their dogs. In fact, I started something on my Facebook page, Path of Friendship, that every day at 4 o'clock we do a mindful Mutt moment where we're going to take our dogs and just sit and practice being in the moment with our dogs to deepen the connection. And the feedback on that has been really good, surprising. Even people that I've worked with whose dogs were, the fact that they're sitting still for this is quite interesting. But we really can get a lot from them because our dogs are not going to be quite as stressed as we are because they don't know what's going on. I mean, Bodhi here, obviously you can see, is not very stressed at all. I don't think he's woken up since we started. But we can feed off of that. You know, emotional contagion works two ways. They get the stress from us, but we can get the calmness and the peace from them as well. And that's and it's been very surprising at how many people have really now, with the time, have tapped into that and taken advantage of it, and really have gone a long way with it.
Thank you. All right, let's go to Nick. Nick, what are your thoughts on this?
Well, see, I'm a one-trick pony. I just say the same thing all the time. I say, use the tapping technique. You know, just like do the tapping. We need it more than ever. If you struggle to meditate, I know Priya was doing a better job meditating, but a lot of people struggle. So if you struggle to meditate, it can be the first step to just calm down your body, get back to that relaxing mode, lower the cortisol. It's, you know, I wish I had a dog asleep next to me because that is just as relaxing. But you can do the tapping on your own, especially people who are alone out there. And there's a lot of people. This is one of the challenges of this situation. There are people who were lonely to start with, and now this total social isolation is just really detrimental for their mental health.
Yeah, and we don't know how long this will last, right? That's part of the problem of what we're dealing with. I want to show Cory something I posted. Here's a picture of our dog, and you may I'm sure everybody's heard that the sense of smell is the first thing to go, or one of the first things to go if you are sick with the coronavirus. So I was thinking about this, and I'm sniffing my dog like crazy these days because I've been smelling her nonstop. I've never been so grateful to have such handy aromas, right? Like I don't need to go around looking for soap or something. I can just, she's next to me and I just inhaling her always not perfect aroma, but there is an aroma and I'm so grateful for it. So what do you think of that?
Well, I think that is probably the greatest twist on it. The fact that we're always complaining about how bad our dogs smell, but now it's actually such a positive thing. Yes, our dogs really stink. We can smell it. Means we're healthy. We're safe. So that's absolutely wonderful. Yep.
Clara, thank you. Clara in Italy says the joys of having a 2-year-old still wearing diapers. Who would have thought? Been thankful for smelly, dirty diapers. Currently, I'm smelling my cat Layla. She has a very mild aroma, though I can confirm my sense of smell is just fine now. Says Steve. Lighting incense has given a whole new meaning. And Ashish is praying for Tara. And Jennifer says, oh my God, that's fantastic. And Ernabel says, when I say stinky puppy to my pup, it has new meaning now. And then there are overachievers out here helping us, says Fibrofly in South Africa. So this is a global phenomenon of dogs. And then Kim says, is this known as payback? Is that what this is? Which is pretty funny. Folks, please post your comments. Please tag your friends. We have about 10 minutes left with them. And Terry has great advice. Just breathe. What do you think about that, Nick?
Hey, that'll do it. That'll do it. I mean, step by step, anything, just start calming the nervous system, So breathe for sure. And if we look, we look at coronavirus and with the shortness of breath, clearly go see a doctor, get help if you feel like you've got something going on. But a lot of people, a panic attack and anxiety attack is shortness of breath, right? So we got to be sure that we're not going to the hospital when we're having a panic attack. I got a text the other day from a nurse who works at Yale Hospital, and she texted me and she said, I had a panic attack last night at 2 a.m. And she wrote that it was teeth chattering. She'd never had an experience like that in her life. Full-blown panic attack. Her husband was diagnosed with coronavirus. She was still working. She had 2 young kids. Just too much, right? This is what happens. There's just too much stress and anxiety and overwhelm, and then the body just can't deal with it. Fortunately, she knew about the tapping. She pulled up the app. We have a Stop a Panic Attack free meditation in there. She did it at 2 a.m., did it through a couple times, and then talked to her husband and went back to sleep. So we have these resources with us, and we need to do everything we can in order to help ourselves calm down. Oh, and let me just pitch one thing before I forget, because I know this is near and dear to everyone in New York. We are making our app free, the premium version, for 6 months for first responders and healthcare workers. So any nurses, any doctors, we've had over 3,200 nurses and doctors from around the country sign up. If you just go to thetappingsolutionapp.com, you'll see it on there, and it's free for 6 months.
Oh, thank you. So another good announcement here. Renee asks, can you show us where to tap?
Yeah, I can do a quick demonstration. As I mentioned, I'm going to skip the face points. Well, how about this? I'll show them to you. If you haven't washed your hands, I think everyone's been home all day, right? So they should be good. So we start by tapping on the side of the hand. It's called the karate chop point. And you always want to pick one thing. So you're anxious, you're stressed, you're overwhelmed. We tap on the side of the hand, and then we have the eyebrow, side of the eye, under the nose, under the mouth, the collarbone, under the arm, which is 3 inches underneath the armpit, and then the top of the head. And that's the basic sequence. And the tapping is focusing on what you feel, the anxiety, the stress, the overwhelm, then going through the points while acknowledging it. So we say things like, even though I'm having a panic attack, I choose to relax now. Even though I'm having trouble breathing, I choose to feel safe now. Even though this situation is so overwhelming, I just don't know what I'm going to do. I choose to feel safe in my body. So it's a combination of acknowledging how we feel, these emotions, and then making that turn to positivity, to what we're doing here tonight. Because we always have to play that delicate balance, right? We want to read the news to be informed, but we don't want to read the news every 12 minutes to read the same headlines over and over again and then go into that fear cycle. We want to acknowledge the anxiety, not to push it down and deny it, but say, you know what, I'm overwhelmed by this situation. And then from there, make the turn into that positive emotion. Even though I'm anxious, I choose to let it go. And what the physical tapping does is it allows our bodies to begin to let it go. A lot of us say, okay, I know I should be more positive, or I shouldn't be so anxious. But when it's all up here, it can be really tough, because we forget we have these bodies that, we have a brain in our stomach that senses things, that we have intuition, we have knowledge in our heart. So there's much more. And when we bring the body in with this physical process, we can help it relax and feel safe.
That's great advice. Thank you very much. And we wish you the very best with your work. I'm going to ask each person to give us kind of a final thought. And also, what's the first thing you're going to do when the lockdown ends and kind of commerce is back? So if it's a restaurant or it's a trip, talk about that, each of you. And we'll end with Nick. We'll go to Priya, Cory, and then Nick. So Priya, over to you.
Yeah, wow. So I think, it's really important to remember, I think we all have been saying that this too shall pass, this will be over. So in the meantime, what can you do to make sure that you're staying grounded, you're doing everything you can to get through it? Because resilience is a really important thing. And so, the quicker we're able to tone that muscle, we'll be able to come out of it. So my thoughts, so what I want to do, I actually was planning a trip to India to see my parents. I haven't seen them in a while. So as soon as that travel restrictions are off, that's where I'm going. I really want to be with them, and I know what's important in life, and I would like to do that. So fingers crossed that we come out of this quickly and as positively as we all can.
That's awesome. Remind everyone how they can find you, all the platforms, please.
Yes, so we're on, you can find us on www.thethinkinghats.com. You can connect with me on LinkedIn, Priya Gopal, Twitter, as you posted, at Precept, and then email us questions, happy to answer anything that we weren't able to touch on. hello@thethinkinghats.com.
And the offer that you're making is
for small businesses. We can help you think through any challenges that you might have right now to innovate your employee experience, your brand, or the way you're engaging customers.
Wow, thank you. Folks, please connect with Priya Gopal. Thank you very much, Priya. You don't have to stay if you don't want to. We know we want to get you back to your Sunday night, but thank you very much and look forward to staying in touch.
Thank you.
Can you tell us what you're going to be doing? What's the first thing you're going to do apart from the India trip? Any food that you're looking forward to eating?
Oh my God. The list is numerous. I mean, living in New York City, we're spoiled for choices, right? Long list, but yes, food, drink, go out with friends, contact,
Yeah, excellent. Well, good luck. And thank you very much, Priya. All right, let's go to Cory.
So this time we're going through all this stuff. There's a lot of stuff that obviously we are beyond our control. So it's more right now about connecting with ourselves, connecting with the moment. And if we're fortunate enough to have our dogs with us, they are the best teachers of the connection. So put control aside, because there's an illusion of control that we have. We don't know from moment to moment what's going to happen, but we have this moment that we are aware of. And our dogs are really the best teachers for that. So let's connect more with them and take the time to become more mindful in their realm and their experience of the world. It's going to help us as well.
So that's great. And what are the first things you're going to do?
I'm not doing that much different. I mean, most of what I do is I get my dogs out. We do a lot of hiking almost every day, very, very early in the morning, so there's no one around. So that really hasn't changed much. I'm not really sure what else I'm going to do other than obviously see my clients with that. But my lifestyle, fortunately, has not changed all that much with this, because I pretty much stay with my dogs other than my clients. But I think one of the first things I'll do, obviously, is visit my kids. So that would be a good thing.
Where are they? You're in Pennsylvania. Where are they?
I have one daughter who's also in Pennsylvania, in Bethlehem, and my son lives in Washington, D.C.
Okay, well, we wish you the best. Yeah, sorry, go ahead.
I just want to go over the platforms on this. I have the my Path Friendship, at Path Friendship on Twitter, Path of Friendship on Facebook, and if you join me every day at 4:00, we do this free mindful moment. And also my blog is pathoffriendship.com. So check that out, some interesting articles on there.
Path of Friendship, and I want to thank Cory because this is the third time he's been on Facebook Live with me. 4 years ago, when our dog was a puppy, our friend Carla drove me to you. And you did a Facebook Live. I think it might have been your first Facebook Live.
Yes.
With a dog training session. It was amazing with thousands of people watching and asking questions. It was an incredible day. And we thank you, Cory. And you came back for the New York Times read along. And Bodhi has been there for at least 2 of those sessions. So I'm grateful to Bodhi, who is clearly not bothered by anything.
Nope.
Thank you, Cory, and good luck.
Thank you.
Stay safe, please. And now let's go to Nick. And by the way, I just want to show that after Nick was speaking, Arlene said, I feel better already. And Stefan says, incredible advice from Nick. The stress of COVID-19 can be overwhelming, and we must keep our mind and spirit in a peaceful state. So Nick, over to you.
Yeah, so the thing I think I'm going to do first, I'd love to go out to dinner on Friday nights, usually get to the restaurant at 5:00 with our 5-year-old daughter, so just my wife, daughter, and I can have a nice, peaceful dinner, and just looking forward to that. The simple things in life, boy, did we take them for granted. I hope that once we get back to them, we'll enjoy all those sporting events. I miss soccer on Saturday mornings, so getting back to that will be nice.
Great. And how can people find you and your information? I know you're big on Instagram, for example.
I'm Instagram, Nick Ortner, on Facebook, and Ortner. And then The Tapping Solution is our main website. So you can sign up for our email newsletter there. It goes out to about 700,000 people. And you can be in a special group of people who are looking to change their lives.
And what about the offer for doctors?
Yeah, so that can be found at thetappingsolutionapp.com/responder. And just fill in the form there, say where you work, what you do, and we'll get you 6 free months to the premium version of the app.
Oh, sounds good. Thank you, everyone. Thank you, Nick. Thank you, Priya. Thank you, Cory. We're just so grateful. My heart is full by having you here. I'm going to talk to the audience for a little bit. You're welcome to stick around, but if you want to jump off, I completely understand. I want to wish you the very best. Hope you'll come back on the show in the months ahead. Hopefully, I won't have to do the show for very long, but unfortunately, it doesn't look that way. Thank you, guys.
Thank you. Take care. Bye-bye.
Bye,
everyone.
Thank you.
Bye-bye.
So what a great evening. I am feeling uplifted. I know many of you are. I was also, I'm experimenting with Instagram, and we were on Instagram, and we had 55 people join us on Instagram right there. I'm sreenet on Instagram, and I'm going to share that to my story so you get kind of the behind-the-scenes look at how this works. Oops. And there's my friend Fareed Zakaria's Instagram post where he's sitting there with, it looks like a martini, which is pretty cool. So I hope you're following Fareed Zakaria on Twitter and Instagram and all of those things. So I just want to wrap up here and also share some of the great comments we've gotten, including from Rehan Mahmood, who says, "We're awesome. Thank you. Thank you for connecting us. We at the South Asian Council for Social Services are connecting people to affordable healthcare, SNAP, which is the food stamps program, and other benefits. We're also delivered cooked meals and grocery bags to vulnerable families and seniors in Queens, New York City. Thank you so much to SACS, SACSS. Please support organizations like them. And Rehan, if you're watching, or Sudha, if you're watching, please be in touch. We'd love to have you on a future show. As we said, Arlene says she feels better already. Terry Ann Thompson says praying works for her, right? We all have different things we do. Stefan is saying, can't wait to get back to Chinatown and have dim sum together, Sree. Yes, that would be awesome. Dim sum a go-go is where we went once in Chinatown. And remember, with Mr. Man, that's what he calls his young, very smart son. We're spending more time with our kids. Our kids are grateful to have us most of the time. Depends on the age, of course. People are saying hi to each other. Cory, you're so special. Thank you for all you do. First thing Steve will do is to go on a bike ride with some friends. And that is just awesome, folks. So I want to leave you with a couple of thoughts before we go. Thank you for being here. Thank you for being part of this family as we share stories and information. Here's what we're doing tomorrow, 4 p.m. Tanya Reese is joining us from Edelman, and they have a brand new study about brands and trust in the age of COVID-19. It's going to be a fantastic show, 4 p.m. Eastern. Please tell all your friends. It's on whatever platform you're watching now, as well as Facebook, Twitter, YouTube, Instagram, and LinkedIn. We're going to be on all those platforms, a chance for you to share and talk and connect with the world and to hear from Tanya. We're very grateful to Tanya for joining us. And then on Tuesday at 7 p.m. or 9 p.m., we still have to decide the time, we're going to do a fantastic show, News You Missed. What is happening is every day there is some big international news story that's completely buried in all the other big international news stories. So we want to do a story just on, with just a session on how we pay attention to the news. What are we missing? And so we're going to have Bob Anthony return to the show, my dear friend, a veteran journalist, and then a young journalist who's been helping us, Vandana Menon. She's been live tweeting. She's going to join us, and so we'll get perspectives from two journalists of different levels of experience and backgrounds. And we want all your stories as well. What are things that we missed? So on Tuesday night, we're going to do that. But on Monday is the session about brands and also trust in the age of COVID. And in fact, if you know of any brands that are doing well, message me so we can talk about them as well. We also have some final comments coming in. You can still tag your friends if you haven't done it. They'll watch the replay. As soon as it's over, the replay comes on and you can see that. And I'm going to show you a couple of things on YouTube that you may not have noticed that I'm going to show you that are pretty cool. Jonathan says, if I understand your culinary plans correctly, they involve Nutella for breakfast, a New York slice for lunch, and dim sum for dinner. That sounds wonderful, doesn't it? I would love to do that. Rose says, check out all the tweets with some great tips from all the guests. Rose Horowitz 31 and Vandana_Menon. Just go to the hashtag Sree COVID-19 call, which is great that you're doing that. Thank you, Rose, for supporting us. And she and I hosted a fantastic conversation with Women to Follow. And check out her Women to Follow hashtag for some great women that you should be following. And Jonathan says, fun and positive show. Shall look into the tapping solution, which is great that you're doing that. And now, before I show you a couple of extra tips before we go, I wanted to show you what we are doing. One of our friends is supporting me in my show and paying as a sponsor, but this person also wanted to support an important charity, frontlinefoodtrucks.com. I don't know if it's exactly a charity or not. It may not be, but there is a GoFundMe on frontlinefoodtrucks.com. Bob Goldberg, who's the founder and president of the New York Food Truck Association. I didn't even know there was one, and so I'm glad to learn about it. They are running a GoFundMe to raise money to go out and feed the hospital workers, because the cafes at the hospitals are closed. And so at NYU Langone, frontline workers are getting food from Frontline trucks, which is awesome. And La Colombe, Sweet Green, and Chobani are donating food, and you are donating the money. So if you enjoyed this show, folks, you can support us by supporting our sponsors. Please go in there to frontlinefoodtrucks.com, frontlinefoodtrucks.com, and please donate. Even a few dollars will help, and I'll be really grateful. And if you did that, let me know so that we can show to sponsors that this is worth doing. We are grateful that we are able to bring in some money so that we can get better production values, so that you don't have to rely on me doing all this stuff. You can see we have very generous, very reasonable rates. Maybe you have a book coming out, or you know a friend who has a book coming out. Maybe you have a small business, a nonprofit, or you're an individual who just wants to support different charities. Buy a 5-day week or a 7-day week of shows, and you will get these mentions at the beginning and at the end, and a graphic, and all of that stuff we'll do. Just email me, sree@sree.net, SREE@SREE.net, and we will love to work with you. And of course, please support frontlinefoodtrucks.com. It takes just a second to go out and support somebody who will then make a difference. That's the point of the show, is to help as many people as possible. And I want to thank you for another reason. Because of the success of this show, WBAI Radio now has me hosting a spin-off show on Saturdays from noon to 2 p.m. Eastern time. It's called Coping with COVID-19, a helpful and hopeful show. It's 2 hours and it flies by. You can find it at WBAI.org, or you can email me. I can send you the information. WBAI is easy to find. 99.5 FM, progressive radio here in New York City. That's Amy Goodman's station, as some of you know. Well, before we go, I thought I would show you what I've been learning on YouTube. So YouTube is something that I've been playing with and using, obviously, like all of us do. But I decided that it's hard to kind of understand where my materials are, where the videos are, and we're producing a lot of videos. So I went back and dug up my old YouTube account. So if you just search for me on YouTube, you will find me. You'll see stories, but you'll also see here, this is my account. And we're uploading a lot of videos, and we have 600 subscribers. When we started, we had about 400 or so from years. I mean, I have videos on here that are 10, 15 years old. So we decided to do that. And then we have playlists that you can see here. And if you click on this, you will find a playlist. And this is where all the videos are. So why did I want to show you this? For a couple of reasons. One is I wanted to share what I'm learning doing these sessions, how interesting YouTube has become as a creator instead of just as a consumer. So that's what I wanted to show you. And so one of the ways to show you is by going to our interview yesterday with the great Bill Ritter, who is recovering from COVID-19. And I just want to pull up that particular video here. So just give me 1 second. I'm sorry, I thought I was showing you the right place, but I got caught up. But here he is, Bill Ritter. So you go to my YouTube channel, you'll be able to find right on the front page of my YouTube channel, Sreenet, you'll find you'll find the playlists. And so once you get into the playlists, you will find a running list of shows. And in it, you'll see here my conversation with Bill Ritter, the anchor on Channel 7 here in New York. And we had just this great conversation. And then I want to show you a couple of things. One is that at about 109 minutes in to this video, we had a cameo appearance of sorts from Dr. Ruth. Martin Englisher, who was watching today on our show, was watching last night, and he told Dr. Ruth that we were discussing Dr. Ruth, the famous relationships expert and American icon, and she said she wants a copy of this show. So I was kind of overwhelmed by that. So I'm just going to play a little bit of
Richard
this
Nixon
here.
For a second term for presidency in the middle of the Vietnam War, the bombing war. The troops were being withdrawn, but he was bombing the North, and we were protesting the speaker at the time.
Can I just read you this? Martin just spoke to Dr. Ruth, and she wants a copy of the show. She thanks Bill's for his mentions. I am so happy. I can't believe a little immigrant kid. Bill, I want you to know this, and I'm going to get emotional because I'm thinking of my parents who are in India, so far away. I miss seeing them, my in-laws, everybody, my brother who lives in Dubai. And I came to this country as a 9-year-old, watched television and saw, they used to have those 3 anchors for ABC News in 3 cities, right? They had, that's when they had Peter Jennings in London and Max Robinson in Chicago and all of that
Max
stuff.
Robinson.
And from that moment, yeah, and I heard of Dr. Ruth back then. And I was, I was a little kid and hearing about Dr. Ruth and the sex doctor that she was and giving that advice. And to be here at this moment, to be with you and connected to Ruth in this way, says something not about me, but about this country. And what a great country it is. And we joked earlier about Sree Sreenivasan, the fact that there was at one time 2 Sreenivasans on the air in this country, where we see so much anger against immigrants. We see so many problems. I just can't tell you how much this means. They say never cry on television if you're in the news business, but I'm not an anchor. You know, together. No, but I just want to say thank you, Bill. This is a life highlight. I use the hashtag life highlight for us to remember these moments. But thank you. Just imagine, I could never imagine this. Thank you. So I just wanted to share that with you. But go back and watch the entire conversation. He was amazing. And then I want to show you at the end of these YouTube videos, they have the section where you can make what they call an end screen, so that you can send people to specific parts of things that you want to have them see. So you can click on this, and it brings this nice end screen, so you can click on that. So that's something that I hadn't noticed before, and that's something you can do. So I'm just sharing all of this. So for those of you who are playing with something, trying to learn some technology, YouTube is a great place to go. I'm learning it, and I'll share what I'm learning as well. I want to thank everybody who is watching. Oh, look at that. Bill Ritter's just shown up here, and he says, such good work you're doing. Bill, you are amazing. Thank you for being here. I can't believe you showed up. I didn't, somebody must have told you we're talking about you. And Rose shares the link. Thank you, Rose. You can find it on YouTube. Where do you get this energy from? I get it from you, Arlene, you and everybody else. I am learning so much. So many good folks listening today. Carla, Stefan, Renee, and Rose mentions Dr. Ruth. And Bill says, Ruth Westheimer, yay. And Lori says, I watched you and Bill Ritter in reruns. Nice piece on Bill Butel. I was a Chiron operator at Channel 7 when you worked there. Lori, so nice to see you. Thank you, thank you, thank you. And thank you to Bill for doing this. Diane says, in all the years I followed you, Sree, you've never been so beautifully tearful. Thank you. And Tina says, hello, Sree, and all. And Rose says, so touched. So on that note, we're going to end. Please support our sponsor at frontlinefoodtrucks.com, frontlinefoodtrucks.com. Make a donation, just a couple of bucks. It'll help if you can do more. We appreciate that. And thank you all for watching. And we'll see you again. Email me, sree@sree.net, SREE@SREE.net. Bye.